Beloved, when you stand in the presence of God and you open your mouth to declare His word, you are not merely speaking words into the air. You are releasing spiritual power, a force that shakes the invisible realm and causes doors to open that no man can shut. There is a reason why the Psalms are not just poetry, they are divine keys. And when you dare to take one of these Psalms upon your lips and proclaim it in faith, you align yourself with heaven's economy, with heaven's storehouse, and financial doors that were sealed shut for years begin to swing open wide. I want you to listen with your spirit, not just with your ears. Too many people hear messages about blessing but do not take hold of them. Too many nod their heads in agreement but do not move their tongues in confession. Yet the scripture says, life and death are in the power of the tongue. If your tongue can release death, it can also release abundance. If your words can bring bondage, your words can also release freedom. And when you take the words of God Himself, His Psalms, and speak them aloud, you are releasing more than opinion. You are releasing covenant power. There is a psalm that carries financial breakthrough. It is not just a poem of comfort, it is a proclamation of provision. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. This is not mere religious talk, this is a divine law. When you say, I shall not want, you are declaring war against lack. You are putting lack on notice and telling it that it has no permanent residence in your life. But you must not whisper it timidly. You must declare it with conviction, with boldness, with authority. The shepherd of your soul is not a poor God. The shepherd of your soul is not a bankrupt ruler. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He stretches out the heavens with His hand. He fills the oceans and counts the grains of sand. And He says to you, if I am your shepherd, then you shall not want. But hear me carefully. This psalm is not just for recitation, it is for revelation. Too many read it as if they are reciting a nursery rhyme. They say the words, but their hearts are locked in unbelief. And what does the word say? Let not that man think he shall receive anything from the Lord. If you are to see financial doors open, you must speak this psalm with faith that moves mountains. You must see yourself stepping into a new realm where want cannot touch you. You must see yourself rising above generational poverty, above economic chains, above the ceilings that life and society have placed on you. You must believe that when you say, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, it is not a hope, it is a decree. There are some listening to me right now who have cried tears at night saying, God, why is my business not growing? Why does my income remain stagnant? Why do I labor but never see increase? The Spirit of the Lord is telling you that your tongue has been cooperating with lack. You have been speaking more about your problems than about His promises. You have been exalting debt with your words, magnifying bills with your confession, glorifying insufficiency with your speech. But today is the day of reversal. Today is the day you pick up this psalm and let it be your weapon. Every time lack whispers, answer with the psalm. Every time death threatens, respond with the psalm. Every time fear shouts, proclaim the psalm. For when you speak it, you are not speaking your imagination. You are speaking eternal truth. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Do you see the authority in those words? Do you feel the power? This is not future tense. This is not one day I shall not want. It is present, it is immediate, it is right now, I shall not want. The moment you say it, you are standing in a covenant reality. Your job may look small, your bank account may look empty, your circumstances may look impossible, but the psalm declares, I shall not want. And as you repeat it, as you meditate on it, as you declare it in faith, your atmosphere begins to change. Angels move on assignment. Opportunities you could not create begin to appear. Favor you did not earn begins to locate you. Why? Because your shepherd is leading you into green pastures. Do not despise the simplicity of it. The devil wants you to think that breakthrough must be complicated, that you must have some grand formula or ritual. But God says, my word is near you in your mouth and in your heart. You do not need to climb to heaven or descend into the deep to find the power. It is in your mouth. Speak it and watch doors open. Speak it and watch the impossible bow. Speak it and see the chains of poverty fall off. The psalm is your key. But a key that is never turned can open a door. A key that is admired but not used leaves you locked out. Use the key. Speak it daily. Speak it boldly. Speak it when you feel weak. Speak it when you feel strong. And the shepherd who has never failed will guide you into overflow. Some of you doubt because you have spoken words before and nothing seemed to change. You declared promises, but the bills kept coming. The debts remained. The business struggled. But hear this truth: God's word is like a hammer. It may not shatter the rock at the first strike, but strike again, strike again, strike again, and suddenly the rock breaks. Your confession is not wasted. Every time you speak the psalm, you are striking the rock of lack. And one day the floodgates of heaven will burst open and pour down on you blessings that you cannot contain. Do not let your present situation silence your confession. Silence is the language of defeat, but declaration is the language of victory. If you close your mouth, the enemy will close your destiny. But if you open your mouth with God's word, no power of hell can close your doors. The shepherd of your soul did not lead you into this world to abandon you. He did not call you by name to leave you in hunger. He did not redeem you to leave you in lack. He said, I shall supply all your needs according to my riches in glory. He said, you will lend and not borrow. He said, wealth and riches will be in the house of the righteous. And this psalm, this simple yet profound psalm, is the gateway to seeing those promises made manifest. But listen, this is not just about money. This is about purpose. When God opens financial doors for you, it is not for you to drown in luxury, but to stand tall in destiny. He blesses you to make you a blessing. He prospers you to make you a channel. He provides for you so you can become His instrument of provision to others. That is why the enemy fears your breakthrough. He knows that when you are financially free, you will fund visions, you will support missions, you will feed the hungry, you will clothe the naked. You will impact generations. So he fights your confession, he attacks your faith, he whispers lies. But today, let the psalm rise higher than every lie. Let the voice of truth silence every voice of fear. Let the shepherd's promise override the enemy's intimidation. And so I tell you again, speak this psalm. Speak it until your spirit believes it more than your eyes see. Speak it until your atmosphere bends to its reality. Speak it until your life reflects its power. Do not treat it as poetry. Treat it as prophecy. Do not treat it as a suggestion. Treat it as a decree. And watch as God Himself takes those words from your lips and uses them to unlock financial doors that no man, no system, no demon can shut. When you grasp the truth of this psalm and let it govern your heart, you will begin to see that financial doors are not merely openings in the natural realm. They are gates into your destiny. Too many are chasing after opportunities, knocking on doors that were never meant to be opened for them. But when you anchor your faith in the shepherd who promises you shall not want, he begins to direct you away from doors that lead to frustration and toward doors that lead to fulfillment. You will no longer waste time begging at the wrong entrances because the shepherd knows which doors are divinely appointed for you. And when you speak his word, you activate the hand of heaven to move on your behalf, placing favor in the hearts of men, arranging circumstances beyond your imagination, and releasing opportunities that money cannot buy. But let me tell you something deeper. Provision is not just about resources. It is about alignment. You may think you need more money, but often what you truly need is alignment with God's wisdom. You may think the answer is in your paycheck, but sometimes the answer is in your perspective. When you speak this psalm, you are not only declaring the end of lack, you are declaring the end of confusion, the end of misalignment, the end of wasted energy. You are saying, Lord, as my shepherd, guide me into the paths that lead to abundance. Lead me into ideas, strategies, and connections that carry wealth with purpose. Many are laboring in barren fields, sowing into places where no harvest was promised. But the shepherd will lead you into green pastures where every seed produces fruit, where every effort multiplies, where every move aligns with his plan. Some of you are waiting for a financial miracle, and I tell you the miracle is already waiting for you. It is hidden in your obedience, concealed in your confession, wrapped up in your faith. Every time you say, "I shall not want," you are pulling that miracle closer. You are drawing the unseen into the seen. You are calling forth what has been prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Do not think of this psalm as a wish. It is a legal declaration. It is heaven's contract written in divine ink. The shepherd himself has bound his name to it. He cannot lie. He cannot fail. When you say it in faith, you are holding God to his word, and he delights when his children trust him enough to take him at his word. But you must also understand this abundance is a test. Lack is a burden, yes, but abundance is a test of character. When financial doors open, the temptation is to think the blessing is about you alone. But the shepherd does not lead you to overflowing cups so that you may drink alone. He fills your cup to overflowing so that others may drink from the overflow. This psalm is not just about you escaping want. It is about you stepping into a life where your abundance breaks the chains of others. God wants to raise up men and women who are financial gatekeepers, people who will not only walk through open doors, but will also hold those doors open for others. He wants you to be the person who pays school fees for children who have no father, who builds homes for widows, who funds projects that transform communities. That is why the enemy fears your prosperity, because your prosperity is not selfish, it is redemptive. There is another truth I want you to catch when the psalm says, "I shall not want." It is not merely a statement of survival, it is a declaration of abundance. Want is not simply about food on your table, want is about the fullness of life. To not want is to have peace in your home, joy in your heart, strength in your body, clarity in your mind, and yes, resources in your hand. To not want is to stand in a place where no area of your life is ruled by insufficiency. God does not want you to have full pockets and an empty soul. He wants you to have full provision in every dimension of your existence. So when you declare this psalm, you are saying, "I reject insufficiency in every form. I reject lack of joy, lack of vision, lack of wisdom, lack of opportunity, lack of health. I embrace the shepherd's abundance in every area of my life." Do you see the breadth of this psalm? It covers every angle of your destiny. It is not just a verse for funerals or a poem for comfort. It is a key for kings. You are royalty in the eyes of God, and royalty does not beg. Royalty does not scrape at the floor of life, hoping for crumbs. Royalty declares, "I shall not want," and walks with the dignity of heaven. But too many children of God are living like beggars while holding the language of kings. The enemy loves when you forget who you are. He loves when you see yourself as helpless, as powerless, as trapped. But today you must rise in your identity and speak this psalm as one who knows they are a child of the King, led by the shepherd of eternity, destined for provision beyond measure. There are some listening who have been faithful, who have tithed, who have prayed, who have believed, and yet financial doors have remained closed. And you are weary, you are tired, you are saying, "Lord, how long?" I speak to your spirit now. Do not let weariness silence your confession. Sometimes God delays not to deny, but to develop. He delays to stretch your faith, to strengthen your resolve, to prepare your character. A door opened too soon can crush you. A blessing given too early can destroy you. But when the time is right, when the foundation is strong, when your character is aligned, the door will open, and it will open so wide, so fast, so powerfully that you will know it was the Lord and not man. So keep speaking, keep declaring, keep holding fast to this psalm, because every declaration is a seed, and seeds do not stay buried forever. They break the ground and produce harvest. And let me say this with all the authority of heaven, do not measure God's provision by your salary. Do not limit God's ability to your paycheck. He can bless you through streams you never imagined. He can raise up benefactors you never knew. He can cause men in high places to favor you without reason. He can give you ideas in the night that turn into enterprises by the morning. He can cause a single contract, a single phone call, a single meeting to shift the trajectory of your finances forever. Do not box God into the limitations of your current situation. He is not bound by your boss, by the economy, by the government, by the currency exchange. He is Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who provides, and He provides in ways that make men's heads spin. All He asks is that you take His word, put it in your mouth, and declare it until your reality bows to it. And when those doors open, walk through them boldly. Some of you are afraid of success. You are more comfortable with struggle because success feels unfamiliar. But God is saying, I am not opening these doors to scare you. I am opening them to establish you. Do not shrink back when abundance comes. Do not apologize for favor. Do not dim your light to make others comfortable. Walk through the doors with humility, yes, but also with confidence, knowing that the shepherd prepared this for you. Do not hesitate, do not doubt, do not delay. Walk in and take possession of the land He has given you. When you take hold of this psalm and allow it to be more than ink on a page, you step into a realm where faith overrides fear, where God's promises silence the noise of doubt. Listen carefully, financial doors do not respond to anxiety. They do not respond to panic. They do not respond to worry. They respond to faith. You can cry about your bills. You can complain about your lack. You can even fast until your body is weak. But if your mouth is not filled with the language of faith, the doors remain closed. The psalm gives you the language of faith. It puts a sword in your mouth. It transforms your speech from cries of despair into declarations of victory. And as you declare it, you begin to rise above the atmosphere of poverty that has surrounded you for years. Understand, this poverty is not only a condition of the wallet, it is a condition of the mind. You can give a man money, but if his mind is still bound by scarcity, he will return to lack. But when you take this psalm and declare, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," you are breaking the mindset of scarcity. You are declaring war against every lie that says you are destined to struggle, that wealth is not for you, that abundance is for others, but not for your household. You are uprooting generational thinking that has told you to accept smallness. You are lifting your eyes to a higher horizon, seeing that your shepherd is not a God of barely enough, but of more than enough. Scarcity begins in the mind, but abundance begins in the spirit, and it flows outward until it touches every part of your life. Some of you have been victims of systems designed to keep you small. You grew up in homes where money was always tight, where every dream was suffocated by lack, where every conversation ended with, "We cannot afford it." And those words shaped your belief. But now, by declaring this psalm, you are rewriting the script of your lineage. You are announcing to heaven and to earth that the curse of lack is broken. You are declaring that your children will not inherit your struggles, that your grandchildren will not taste the bitterness of poverty. You are building a new foundation, one where abundance is the norm and provision is natural. Do not underestimate the power of your confession. When you say, "I shall not want," you are not just speaking over yourself, you are speaking over generations yet unborn. But hear me well, abundance is not the same as greed. God is not calling you to be consumed by materialism. He is calling you to be consumed by purpose. Financial doors are not open so you can chase vanity. They are open so you can fund destiny. Greed hoards, but abundance flows. Greed grasps, but abundance gives. Greed enslaves, but abundance liberates. The shepherd does not lead you into prosperity so that you may forget him, but so that you may glorify him in the earth through your generosity. When you prosper, the poor should rejoice. When you increase, the hungry should be fed. When you overflow, the kingdom should advance. That is how you prove that you understand the shepherd's heart, that you use his blessing not as an idol, but as an instrument. And I must tell you this, financial doors open not only through confession, but also through obedience. The psalm says, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. If the shepherd leads and you refuse to follow, then you remain in barren places. Too many speak of prosperity but walk in disobedience. They want God's provision but ignore God's instructions. They declare, "I shall not want," but they despise discipline, they resist correction, they cling to habits that waste their resources. You cannot expect the shepherd to lead you into abundance if you insist on wandering off into foolishness. When he leads you to green pastures, you must lie down. When he directs you to still waters, you must drink. The blessing is in the following. Obedience is the pathway to provision. Sometimes the door you are waiting for is on the other side of a small act of obedience. Perhaps the shepherd is telling you to forgive someone who owes you. Perhaps he is instructing you to give even when it feels impossible. Perhaps he is whispering to you to step into a venture that seems risky but is divinely ordained. Do not ignore those promptings, for often the key to your abundance is hidden in an act of faith. When Abraham obeyed, provision met him on the mountain. When the widow obeyed the prophet, her jars overflowed. When Peter obeyed the instruction to cast his net again, the boat nearly sank with fish. Obedience may not always make sense, but it always produces provision. And let me reveal something many overlook: financial doors are not just about money flowing in, they are about wisdom flowing out. God will not simply rain money from heaven, He will give you wisdom, ideas, and insight. He will inspire creativity, open your mind to strategies, and give you the ability to see solutions where others see problems. If you only expect money to fall into your lap, you limit Him. But if you expect wisdom, He will open your eyes to opportunities that create wealth. Wisdom is a greater treasure than silver or gold. It multiplies resources, it sustains increase, it preserves blessing. When you declare, "I shall not want," you are also declaring, "I shall walk in wisdom." And when wisdom flows, wealth follows. Do not despise small beginnings. Some doors will not look like doors. Some blessings will come disguised as problems. Some opportunities will look too small to matter, but the shepherd works in the small to reveal the great. The 5 loaves and 2 fish did not look like a feast, but in the shepherd's hands they fed thousands. The widow's small jar of oil did not look like abundance, but in the shepherd's plan, it filled many vessels. Your seed may look small, but when blessed by the shepherd, it will open doors you never imagined. Do not say, "This is too little." Say, "This is the beginning of my abundance." Because in the shepherd's hands, the little becomes much, and the ordinary becomes extraordinary. I speak to those who feel invisible, overlooked, forgotten. You think financial doors only open for the powerful, the connected, the influential. But the shepherd sees you. He knows your name. He knows where you live. He knows your struggles, and He can raise you from obscurity to influence in a single moment. Joseph was a prisoner one day and a prime minister the next. David was a shepherd boy one day and a king the next. Ruth was a poor widow one day and part of a royal lineage the next. Do not believe the lie that you must remain where you are. When you declare this psalm, you are aligning yourself with a God who specializes in sudden shifts. In one night, He can change your story. In one day, He can rewrite your destiny. But while you wait for the sudden, do not despise the steady. Some doors open slowly, with patience, with persistence, with faithfulness. Every day you speak the psalm, you are turning the key a little more. Every act of obedience pushes the door a little further. Every seed you sow unlocks the hinges one by one. And suddenly, after weeks, months, or even years of faithfulness, the door bursts wide open. Both the sudden and the steady are miracles, and both are orchestrated by the shepherd, who promises that you shall not want. Beloved, you stand at the threshold of a choice. You can continue to live as you have always lived, bound by fear, speaking words of lack, waiting for something to change without ever opening your mouth in faith. Or you can rise today, take the psalm as your weapon, and declare with authority, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait until conditions look favorable. Speak it now when the bills are staring at you. Speak it now when the account is empty. Speak it now when the situation feels impossible. That is when faith carries its sharpest edge. That is when heaven leans close to listen. Do not underestimate the weight of this moment. One declaration can shift your destiny. One act of faith can alter the course of your household. One bold proclamation can silence the voice of lack forever. The world will tell you that money is scarce, that opportunities are rare, that you must fight and claw for survival. But your shepherd tells you another story, one of abundance, one of provision, one of open doors that no system can close. Choose whose voice you will echo. Will you echo the world's fear, or will you echo your shepherd's promise? I challenge you from this day forward, let no day pass without declaring this psalm over your life. Let it be the first sound in your morning and the last sound before you sleep. Teach it to your children, write it on your walls, carry it in your spirit until it becomes more real than the numbers on your paycheck. And as you do, watch with holy expectation, because the shepherd is not a liar and his word will not return empty. Doors will open, provision will come, abundance will flow. Rise now with faith unshakable. Stand tall with the courage of one who knows that heaven is backing every word you speak. Lift your voice and declare it with me in your spirit. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Let it burn in your heart. Let it thunder in your soul. Let it echo in the corridors of heaven and shake the foundations of lack. For today you are stepping into a new season, a season where want no longer defines you, where lack no longer binds you, where financial doors swing wide because you dared to believe, you dared to declare, and you dared to trust the shepherd of your soul. Now go forth, speak with boldness, live with expectancy, give with generosity, and walk with the unshakable confidence that your shepherd has already gone ahead of you. You shall not want. You shall not lack. You shall not be forsaken. The doors are opening. Walk through them with faith, with courage, and with purpose. And let your life be the testimony that when God is your shepherd, no power on earth can keep you in want.